What if every breath you take were much more than just air moving in and out of your body? What if with each inhale you were sending an invisible code to the quantum field, shaping the reality around you? Most people don't realize it, but the simple act of breathing, done more than 23,000 times a day, is also a silent form of communication with the universe. Research from the HeartMath Institute shows that breathing rhythm not only regulates biological functions, but also directly influences the heart's electromagnetic field. This field expands around the body, reaching people, environments, and circumstances like subtle waves of information that say, "This is how I am vibrating right now." It's not just physiology, it's energetic transmission. The paradox is that, although breath is the simplest bridge between body, mind, and field, we live almost entirely on autopilot. We breathe short, shallow, rushed breaths, as if air were only fuel and not language. And it is precisely in this lack of awareness that we waste the key to reorganizing our own lives from within. Today, I invite you to look at breathing through new eyes, not as a mechanical function, but as a portal. Conscious breathing activates the state of the observer, that inner place where you disidentify from thoughts and begin to witness. It is in this space of silence and clarity that automatic patterns dissolve and reality finds room to reorganize itself from the inside out. We breathe without noticing. The body pulls in air, releases air, repeats the cycle thousands of times a day without the mind being aware of it. This autopilot is useful for keeping life functioning, but it comes at a price. It traps our awareness in a cycle of repetition. Rapid, shallow breathing keeps the body in a state of alertness, as if we were always preparing to react, but never fully creating. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the internal environment shapes biology. If breathing patterns signal to the body that there is hurry, danger, or lack of space, the nervous system responds with stress. The cells interpret this message and operate in survival mode, reinforcing old patterns and limiting the capacity to access new states. In this automatic state, it's not just the body that gets stuck. The mind also becomes conditioned, repeating yesterday's thoughts and emotions as if they were inevitable. Shallow breathing sustains the illusion that there is no way out, because it never opens the space for inner silence that could rewrite mental programs. Bringing awareness to breath is like switching off autopilot and taking control of the flight. Each inhale can become a reminder of presence, each exhale an invitation to let go. By breaking this unconscious cycle, the body and mind stop revolving around repetition and begin to open to the new. Anxiety, hurry, anger, sadness, every emotion you experience is recorded in the field through breathing. We inhale tension, exhale urgency, and the body registers this silent code without our awareness. Breathing is not just physiology, it is vibrational language. Every rhythm, every pause, every depth of air that enters and leaves is information the quantum field interprets as a command about the reality we project. Bruce Lipton explains that our perceptions, not only the physical environment, determine how cells express themselves. If we breathe in a restless way, the body understands there is danger, reinforcing defense circuits. This internal response creates a biological field that sends the same message of insecurity outward, attracting circumstances that confirm the inner state. Joe Dispenza adds that the heart, when synchronized with breathing, generates an electromagnetic field capable of influencing not only our body, but also the space around us. A breath filled with fear does not stay confined within you. It reverberates in waves that spread outward, altering interactions, encounters, and even the outcomes that appear in your life. When we breathe consciously, we reprogram this code. Inhaling can become an act of trust, exhaling an act of surrender. With this simple adjustment, the body begins to vibrate in coherence, and the field reads the message as clarity. Thus, each breath becomes a conscious vote for the life we want to experience. Biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp demonstrated that our cells emit biophotons, particles of light that reflect the state of our organism. When we are in harmony, this light organizes itself coherently, radiating balance. But in states of stress or disorder, biophotons become chaotic, emitting confused signals that weaken the body and misalign our vital energy. Breathing plays a central role in this process. An irregular breathing pattern feeds internal disorder, while conscious breathing works as a switch capable of restoring cellular radiance. Breathing deeply and with presence organizes not only the nervous system but also the luminous emission of the cells, creating a field of coherence visible at subtle levels. Bruce Lipton explains that the perception of safety or threat instantly alters genetic and cellular expression. By breathing in a state of trust, you send your cells the message that the environment is favorable to expansion. This state generates harmony, and the biophotonic emission becomes clear, like an energetic beacon that influences both your body and your surroundings. Thus, every conscious breath is like rekindling an inner flame. It illuminates the cells, purifies patterns of disorder, and strengthens vitality. The body is not only sustained by air, but also guided by the luminous energy that breathing helps organize, a light that flows through you and extends into the field, reorganizing your reality as well. When you simply observe your own breath without trying to control or change it, something subtle yet powerful happens. The witness self emerges. In this state, you stop confusing yourself with the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions crossing your mind and anchor yourself in the awareness that observes. It is as if, for a few moments, you step away from the stage of life and begin to watch from a silent and stable point. Bruce Lipton reminds us that it is perception that determines the internal environment. When you observe without judgment, perception shifts. The body moves out of threat mode and into coherence. The cells, once vibrating in alertness, receive the message of safety and begin to expand. This simple act of observing the breath silently reprograms the biological system. Joe Dispenza describes this process as accessing the state of the observer, a consciousness that exists beyond the habitual identity, beyond stories and conditioning. It is in this place that we stop being carried away by old patterns and begin to step into the field of infinite possibilities. Breathing becomes the doorway to this space. This portal requires no effort. It opens the moment you choose to remain present with the air moving in and out, recognizing yourself as something greater than the mental flow. Breath, once automatic, reveals itself as the key to accessing the silence that creates, a place where reality can be reorganized from the inside out. There is an almost imperceptible instant between inhaling and exhaling, and between exhaling and inhaling again. This silent space, so brief that it often goes unnoticed, holds a profound mystery. It is as if, in that pause, everything is suspended. The body rests, the mind is still, and consciousness touches a point of stillness that does not belong to linear time. Ancient spiritual traditions describe this space as a portal to the infinite. A moment in which the human being, even if only for fractions of a second, connects to the vastness of the creative void, the same void from which the entire universe emerges. In the language of quantum physics, this space can be understood as the field of possibilities, a place where nothing is fixed and everything is possible. Bruce Lipton reminds us that our internal states can reprogram biology. In this space between breaths, the nervous system finds the chance to reorganize, freeing the body from the automatic cycle of defense. It is as if each pause were an opportunity to reset not only the organism, but also the way we interact with reality. When you become aware of this interval and inhabit it with presence, you discover a fertile stillness. It is not an empty void, but a silence full of potential, where new possibilities await manifestation. The space between breaths is perhaps one of the simplest and most profound gateways to the quantum field that reorganizes life from the inside out. The body can be seen as a living temple, a sacred space that holds memories, experiences, and records not only of your personal history but also of ancestral lines. Each region of the body carries subtle marks, tensions in the shoulders that reveal unspoken responsibilities, discomfort in the chest that holds emotional pain, contractions in the abdomen that hide ancient fears. Conscious breathing moves through these inner chambers like a silent visitor, opening doors, illuminating shadows, and releasing what was once imprisoned. Bruce Lipton shows us that the internal environment determines how our cells express themselves. By bringing air with attention to the forgotten parts of the body, we create a perception of safety that reorganizes stress patterns and makes room for healing. The cells interpret conscious breathing as a sign that there is no danger. They relax and allow vital energy to circulate once again. This practice is like a gentle purification. Each inhale works as a respectful visit to this inner temple, and each exhale removes accumulated dust in the form of repressed emotions, silent traumas, and memories that no longer need to remain. The body, once burdened, begins to feel lighter, more available, more open. Breathing consciously is honoring your own temple. It is recognizing that we are not broken, but in transformation. When breath moves through the body with presence, it becomes a silent ritual of cleansing and renewal, transforming every part of us into a space prepared to receive the new. The rhythm of your breath is not limited to your body. It directly shapes the electromagnetic field of the heart, a field that, according to the HeartMath Institute, can extend up to 2.4 meters beyond you. This silent vibration reaches people and environments, transmitting information about your inner state before a single word is spoken. Bruce Lipton explains that our cells pick up the energetic environment and adjust biology according to perception. Likewise, those around you also unconsciously sense the quality of the field you emit. Short and anxious breathing sends signals of insecurity, while deep and coherent breathing transmits stability and confidence. Joe Dispenza reinforces that the heart is a powerful transmitter of electromagnetic information. When the rhythm of breath aligns with the heartbeat, coherence is created that influences not only the body itself, but also how we interact with others. That is why, in the presence of someone in deep calm, we feel peace even without a rational explanation. Breathing consciously, therefore, is more than an individual act. It is a gesture that reverberates in the collective field, organizing interactions, softening tensions, and radiating balance. Each coherent breath is like a silent invitation for the surrounding environment to also find harmony. Breathing consciously in the midst of chaos is like lighting a candle in a dark room. The natural tendency of the mind is to react, to respond immediately to stimuli, repeat defense patterns, and be carried away by emotions. But when you bring your attention to the breath, you create a space between what happens and how you choose to respond. This space is the seed of alignment. Bruce Lipton shows that our cells interpret every perception as a signal of threat or safety. By breathing consciously, you inform the body that the environment is safe, even when the mind insists on firing alarms. The nervous system then begins to shift out of survival mode and return to creation mode, making room for higher choices. Joe Dispenza explains that at this point, you are no longer a prisoner of old emotional memories. Instead of automatically repeating the same reactions, fear, anger, escape, breathing brings you back to the present where new possibilities can manifest. What was once a trigger becomes an opportunity for expansion. Conscious breathing, therefore, does more than calm. It reorganizes. It transforms the impulse of reactivity into clarity of action, making you the stable center around which your reality restructures itself. In this state, you not only respond differently, you become different, and life responds in equal measure. In modern culture, we have learned to associate power with speed, with relentless production, with visible effort. But there is a force much deeper, quieter, and more transformative: creative stillness. Just as the eye of a hurricane remains unmoving while everything spins around it, conscious breathing teaches us that true power is not in frantic movement, but in the silence that sustains all creation. Bruce Lipton reminds us that our cells constantly respond to perceptions of threat or safety. When we immerse ourselves in states of respiratory stillness, the body receives the signal that it no longer needs to fight or protect itself. This physiological rest opens space for regeneration, cellular reorganization, and access to higher frequencies of energy. Joe Dispenza adds that it is in this state of silent coherence that the quantum field responds most clearly. There is no noise, no urgency, only the stable vibration of someone who knows they are already aligned with what they wish to manifest. It is in this space that synchronicities flourish, because the signal being sent is pure without interference. Creative stillness is not the absence of life. It is the fertile soil where everything germinates. It is in the deep silence between breaths that invisible seeds align to become reality. To breathe in this state is to choose to be the serene center of a life that naturally reorganizes itself around your peace. Each breath you inhale and exhale does not belong to you alone. It touches the invisible field that connects all consciousness. The HeartMath Institute shows that coherent breathing synchronizes the heart, creating a stable electromagnetic field that radiates beyond the body. This means that by breathing with presence, you not only heal yourself, but also become a point of balance that influences the whole. Bruce Lipton reminds us that our cells are always in dialogue with the environment, interpreting signals and adjusting to them. In the same way, the environment also responds to what we radiate. When we breathe in harmony, we transmit safety and stability, and this pattern can soften interactions, transform relationships, and even change the way others feel in our presence. Joe Dispenza adds that by entering respiratory coherence, you become a transmitter of clearer quantum information. The field around you organizes itself, and this organization is subtly felt by everyone who comes into contact with you. It is not about persuading with words, but about silently influencing through the state you sustain. Thus, each conscious breath is also an act of service. It not only realigns your body and mind, but also anchors harmony in the collective field. To breathe as the observer is to choose to be a lighthouse, radiating balance and allowing others to find resonance within this frequency of peace. What once seemed like only a biological function now reveals itself as one of the subtlest and most powerful mechanisms of conscious creation. Breathing, this simple and constant gesture, is also a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the physical body and the quantum field. By bringing awareness to this process, you access the state of the observer, a space of silent witnessing where automatic patterns dissolve and reality finds room to reorganize from the inside out. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the internal environment is the trigger that shapes genetic expression. Each conscious breath sends the body the message of safety, opening doors to new biological and emotional possibilities. Joe Dispenza reinforces that when this state is sustained, the field responds with clarity, because the vibration being transmitted is no longer fragmented, but coherent. The ancients already knew breath is the key that connects spirit and matter, earth and infinity. Modern science confirms it alters frequencies, electromagnetic fields, and even probabilities. It is not just oxygen entering and leaving, but information being transmitted and reorganized in every cycle. Each breath can be a vote, for chaos or for coherence, for repetition or for creation. When you choose to breathe as the observer, you open a silent portal for life to adjust to your highest frequency. It is in this simple gesture that lies the possibility of watching your reality transform from the inside out.